would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not
Not
me.
me. Anyway, we're back. Hello.
Hi.
And this is this year's last appearance. So it's our usual best and worst of the year list. But in order for you to know what you're watching, Katie's going to introduce the podcast.
That bit, yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to all the films we judged before for the final time this year.
Mm.
I'm Katie. That's Lily Kay.
That's
Bosh.
fun. All right, so we're gonna just get into it and just discuss this thing, and we're gonna start with the worst slash disappointing list because both me and Katie couldn't decide on the TV shows really. So yeah, I think we start with the movies because I have a top three worst for that for sure. I don't know if you do as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one that's actually the worst, but the other two, I'm sitting more in the disappointing
Okay.
area, I think, for
That's
me.
that's good. We're
Um,
gonna we're gonna go backwards then. We're gonna start with number three, I
mhm.
guess.
I think that
Oh,
makes more sense.
yeah. So what's your number three, Katie, on the worst slash disappointing movies of the year list?
I just want to point out our energy at the moment is quite low just because it's the morning. We
It's
don't usually do
morning.
these in the morning,
Yeah,
which you may be able to tell by my hair. But
your hair is gorgeous.
thank you.
It's just
But
so fluff.
it's a little bedheady.
Yeah, it's good.
Um, but it means that's why I'm a little bit
Mm,
um I also went to the theatre last night because I'm a woman of culture.
there you go.
But it also meant that I got back at like 1 in the morning, so I'm a bit
Fun.
tired.
Understandable.
So forgive me, but we'll get into it properly. My
Mm,
number three that I've put down again was his worst slash most disappointing. So these aren't necessarily bad movies slash TV shows, just the things that didn't really live up to hype, and some of them
mm.
are bad. But we'll clarify that as we go. But my number three is Furiosa.
Oh,
I
how
just
interesting.
it just did not hit for me.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like part of that was because I had a quite a not great cinema experience as far as I can remember. Um, it's long. It's quite
Like most
long.
movies are.
I know, but like it's long in a way that you really feel.
Oh,
And as such a fan of Mad Max Fury Road, it feels like kind of a downgrade in a lot of ways.
oh.
There's a lot to like about it, don't get me wrong. Anya Taylor-Joy is very good in it, but um, I don't know. It's a sort of it's quite a meandering film.
Mm,
Um, and it did not hit in the way that
mm.
one might want it to, especially after Fury Road. Because I think I went back and I watched Fury Road again after I watched Furiosa, and I went, see, this is a masterpiece. And
Yeah.
Furiosa's not, just
Mm,
not really.
mm.
Um, I mean, it looks gorgeous, don't get me wrong. It's filmed very well and all that sort of stuff. It just, yeah, it meanders and it just, yeah, again, it just did not hit in the way that one might
Mm,
want it to. Um,
yeah.
I don't really have much more to say on that. If you do want to hear more of my thoughts at the time, we do have myself and Brian talked about Furiosa earlier in the year,
Yeah.
and I hope I I clarified myself with more um verb.
I still haven't seen it, so I can't talk on it.
Yeah, it's so it's very
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
This
Fair.
tends to be these lists at this point in the year, was all go into the
Yeah.
of it all.
Mm, fair. Fair. Yeah. Right. My number three is yeah. It's more like it's disappointing. I
Mm,
didn't like actively hate it, but
mm,
I've been looking forward to it, and it was not what I was expecting. It's Spaceman with Adam Sandler and Paul Dano.
oh, okay. I did
From
not. We talked about talking about this, and then
yes,
the time passed us by because life.
life.
So I never watched it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those movies where I think that Adam Sandler is very underappreciated as a serious actor,
Mm.
and he has really good movies that are not his usual comedies, and he is a really good actor, by the way. And I was, when the trailer dropped, I was like, oh, this is like very interesting and intriguing, and it's gonna be one of those again where it's just surprisingly good, and it kind of wasn't. It was like the concept and the idea behind it was, I think, was good, and then they just didn't do anything with it at the end, and that was disappointing for me. I was like, I even, most surprisingly, because I hate spiders, but I even like the spider who was voiced by Paul Dano, and I was like, I think actually the spider was the best part of the entire thing, to be fair. And
Mm.
I'm like, it's not like awful or unwatchable or anything like that. It's just
Eh.
disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
I'm a bit sad about it because I was hoping for a good one again, but alas, it wasn't.
Alas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Hmm. What's your number two then?
My number two, I think, because again, I went through my Instagram feed, which is where I put
Mm,
all my movies. I could have gone through my letterbox as well, but my letterbox also has all the other movies I watched this year, so it's not nearly as helpful.
mm,
But as I was going through, the one that really stuck out, sure, that's a word,
sure, that
stood
works.
out as probably actively disappointing
Mm,
was Alien Romulus. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Because it's the fact that I went into it and I was so enjoying myself for like the first half, and then it just started going downhill, and it just pissed me off.
It's my number two as well.
It's
So
just, yeah, I mean, you could tell from the our episode that we did about it. It was just both of us being like, and then this happened, and that was really fucking annoying.
there was many things very, very annoying about Romulus. Mostly the same thing that they just fell into with these movies lately is that, and I said this on the episode as well, like they don't understand that the xenomorphs themselves are enough. Like
Yeah.
they always want to up the game and come up with new things, and that was like, until the well, I'm not gonna count aliens because the alien queen is still a xenomorph. It's just a bigger version of the xenomorph. But up until Alien 4 Resurrection, there is no new creature or anything. And let's be fair, as much as I love all four original movies, like the first two are just fucking amazing. And then the third is fine because I know people have a problem with it, but I don't. I still enjoy that one, although the CGI sucked, unfortunately. But yeah, the fourth is a very weak film next to those, and it is the first film where they introduce like, oh, we have this new creature, and it's creepy, and it is creepy, and you should be more scared of this than the xenomorphs, and then 5 minutes in, it's dead, and I'm like, do we do we need that? We don't need that. Like, and then Alien Romulus came in. It looked like it's gonna be the good old like horror, being scared in a small space, closed in with these absolutely like insane killers and whatnot, and trying to survive basically. And then no, mm-mm, no, no, it had to just be like so disappointing.
It's just the fact that they kind of threw away any genuine originality that they kind of had with it, or like j just good storytelling to make it into Alien 2.0,
Hmm.
like in order to like make it mirror the original Alien as much as possible. And it's like you've made your movie worse by
Yeah,
insisting on referencing things
yeah,
from the past.
yeah.
Don't get me started
No.
on the aliens reference that doesn't make any sense within the
Oh,
context of this film.
but so
Why did
many.
they put that in there?
Well, because they think that that's what we want when it's not.
It's not.
It's not what people want, you know. The magic of Alien and why it worked so well at the beginning is that you know they were just that, like just surviving, trying to get by. In the first movie, like yes, Ripley survives and she's awesome and whatnot, but she's scared shitless. And once again, we get a movie where they're like, there are these new creatures. I'm scared of them for 2 seconds, and then suddenly I'm a badass and I can kick everyone's ass. And I'm like, no, you're like you're literally killing your own monsters basically because like let's look at them as monsters, whatever. But with this kind of like, oh, we need badasses and whatnot, it's not working. It's not. But Andy is the greatest thing ever,
Yeah,
so
dude,
I will just put
so
that out there.
great. I love
David Johnson
it's
is
just he's
just
so good. Really is the best part of that entire film.
yeah. He saved the movie for me.
So good. So good.
He was
Um,
just the absolute highlight of the entire thing. Really, it's. I was like, yeah, yeah. Thank you for saving that.
mhm.
You know, it's not an actively bad movie still,
No,
but
honestly, in many ways it's still pretty good. It's just annoying.
it is annoying, so annoying. I am biased with Alien, but I was really looking forward to this. I was really, really hopeful because I think Fede Alvarez is really good. Uh, but
He's
yeah,
making another one, so we'll see.
the only good news about that was that Andy is back,
Mm.
and I was like, yes, that's all I needed to know. Andy's back. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, and next year we're gonna see Alien Earth, which already pissed me off by the title itself. Like, what the fuck are they doing on Earth when it's clearly stated that we didn't have any contact with aliens until Ripley and the Nostromo crew found them. But okay, sure. I could go on
It's
about this for like hours.
we don't entirely know what it's about yet.
I know,
Entirely. We don't
I
know
know,
any of the context for it, so it could be interesting.
I know. I try to keep an open mind, but it's hard.
I'm having trouble.
I'm having trouble. But anyway, what's your number one then?
My number one genuinely is a bad movie. I
Oh,
mean, it was Argyle.
oh, that's fair. I couldn't. I
Like,
couldn't even finish it.
like, okay, here's the thing. At the time, I did enjoy watching it,
Hmm.
but also, I'm not blind. It was a bad movie. It
Yeah.
was extremely silly. It clearly wasn't particularly well made. But like, when I was watching it, I was like, well, this is a brain off movie, so I'm having a decent enough time.
Mm.
But I'm not an idiot. It wasn't good.
No, no. As I said, like I didn't even finish it. I think I just stopped in, not even halfway through. I was like, oh no, I can't.
Also, they put Bryce Dallas Howard in that blonde wig, and it really didn't suit her.
No, no, we really didn't.
It really didn't. I mean, Samara was always fun to watch though, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
always nice.
I mean,
Um,
it's full of like great actors, so I really don't understand how they can fuck it up this badly.
it wasn't good.
No, that's very fair.
And if going through my Instagram feed of all the films that I did in fact see in the cinema this year, that was definitely the worst one.
Fair. Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't even think I need to put any more into that. It just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It's on Apple TV if you want to watch it, but I wouldn't recommend it that much.
Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. Well, my number one is once again like it's not that it's the worst movie you can find out there, but it's more of a disappointment, really.
Mhm.
It's Out of Darkness, which is this uh, back in when we evolved from cavemans, and it's with Kit Young. It is Kit Young, is it? It is.
I'm having to look it up because I don't.
Yes, look it up.
This says it came out 2 years ago.
well, it does say that, but it actually came out like, or maybe I don't know. I remember finding it, and I was like, oh, I remember this trailer. It looked interesting, and then it was not great. It's not great.
Yeah, it's it says it had its world premiere at the London Film Festival in 2022, and then it was nominated for 5 awards in 2023.
And then I think it was.
Oh yeah, release date 2024. I stand corrected, and I'll shut the fuck up.
Okay, because that's how I remembered as well that they released it now.
It's just a
Uh,
long time between like premiere
yeah,
and
it had like the problem with it was that it had a really intriguing concept of like these more than cavemans at this point find a new or arrive at a new place and they immediately greeted by like this monster kind of thing,
okay.
which you never see but here, and it's they really built up well the suspense of
Mm.
it. And then they just fucked it up all up with the I fucking hate that twist. The monster was actually people, and they were just trying to protect themselves with this monster that they made up, and it's never explained how they could rip apart a person or anything like that. It just happens, and the movie genuinely makes you feel like it's going to be like a good old monster movie, and then it turns into, oh, it was people all along.
Mm.
So it was not good.
Yeah, I mean, the plot is right in front of me, and I'm already looking at it like, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm all right. I don't need to
yeah.
watch this.
No, you don't. You really don't. I was excited for it because, I love this type of movies and it sounded intriguing. And then, yeah, no,
No.
it's not like the worst thing that you can watch, obviously,
Mm.
but yeah, it's not too great.
Mm. Yeah. All right. Fair
It is what
enough.
it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, I was just looking at my letterbox feed, to see if there's anything else that I thought was worth
Mm,
mentioning as like an honorable mention.
mm.
Um, I feel like A Real Pain was probably one of the bigger disappointments of the year for me. As I
I
saw
don't
that
even know what that is.
that's the Jesse Eisenberg,
Oh,
Kieran
oh,
Culkin
oh.
vehicle,
Yes. Yes.
um, which I've seen a lot of people really liking, and I don't want to take that away from anybody, but it just did not. I didn't like it nearly as much as I thought I was going to.
Mm,
Um, but I did still, I did like it a lot. I just did not. Out of all the movies I saw at the London Film Festival, which was, before, um, what I wanted more from it. I feel like
fair.
it didn't say much by the end of it. It
Mm.
kind of suggested some things and then didn't really resolve any of what it wanted to. But Kieran Culkin's fucking brilliant in it. That is true.
I
Um,
mean, he's always great, to be
I
fair.
know, but like he's really good in it.
Mm,
I did see a clip last night from Graham Norton because they were both on it.
mm.
And Kieran was sat there like, it is insane that you cast me without auditioning me or having seen anything that I was in. That's
Oh,
he was like, I was aware of you, and he's like, that's bonkers.
interesting.
I mean,
It
he
is.
did,
It
he
is
made a
indeed.
great choice because he
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
entirely correct about
yeah,
like his
yeah.
character and
But
everything.
it's.
But it's like
Mm.
he's right. That's weird.
He is right. He is right. I agree as well.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I
Okay.
stand by that. I think Jesse Eisenberg gets in the way of his own film for me personally. He's good in it, is the thing. He does do a very good job, but I think the meta text of it for me in that it is written and directed by him, and then there's just a bit in it where he has this monologue that he's like clearly given himself, and it just feels a little. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. Understandable. All right. Fair.
yeah. And then probably the other one that actually stood out as like, but like it doesn't even count as a disappointment because I wasn't really, I didn't care that much about it. Was
Mm,
probably Joker. Like I didn't have any real expectations for it,
mm.
but like it was still a bit like,
Yeah. Yeah. Fair. Fair. All right. Let's talk the top two disappointing TV shows.
we just couldn't think of any TV
No,
shows to talk
not
about.
really. Not really, to be fair.
Um,
But Yeah.
And I'm hoping that you won't hit me for the one of the ones that I put on here. But I also feel like you might have put on here also. Do do we want to start with
Yeah. Sweet home.
Sweet Home? Because I feel like it was one of the only discussions this year of like we both sat down and went, this really wasn't as good as it probably could have been. And we
Yeah.
both had entirely different expectations going into it because this is one of your loves.
Hmm.
But it is a
Hmm.
bit, it was just a bit. They didn't really stick the landing, so to
No,
speak.
not at all. And it's honestly like still it's one of the biggest pains of this year where
Hmm.
I'm like, you have these amazing people, you have this great story that you set up, and you did nothing with it,
Didn't really do
basically.
anything at all,
No,
no.
no. And I'm like, I just sat there at the end and I was like, that was the biggest wasted potential that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people were a bit iffy about season two, but I still like season two. I
Hmm.
think that's still like a very good season of Sweet Home. And they set up a lot of very interesting things in there. And then I think they forgot about them, to be honest. I was like, the fuck is happening? Like, yeah, so it just it broke my heart.
Yeah,
That's
nothing quite hits the disappointment button,
yeah.
so to speak, as like seeing like it being so clear on the potential that something has, like literally watching something and being like, well, that would be an interesting thing to be. Oh, you're not doing anything with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing what? Who are all these people?
Yeah.
Why are we not doing anything with any of them?
Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. It's like, and don't get me started on Sang-woo, who was just like the biggest wasted potential still,
Mm.
where, he could have had one of the most interesting storylines where he's like, he's closed in his own body and
Could have
and
had like the
and
best redemption.
yeah, yeah. And then they just like, meh,
Eh,
yeah,
let's just
just
not do anything with this.
yeah, it's just
Let's
not
just
and
vaguely tie it up in the last episode, but like really not that clearly.
yeah, no, not at all. And then the ending is like,
Okay.
okay, like the fuck is happening still? I don't understand, but sure.
Lack of clarity on any of the actual like law going on within
Hmm.
like no sense of like what the rules are of what this
Nothing.
the universe. It's just very difficult to get a beat on.
And
Um,
and and they forgot about rules that they set up at the very
mhm.
beginning. And I was like, what? Why?
It's just like it becomes annoying, like
Yeah,
annoying filmmaking. Which is
yeah.
like, what was your focus here? Because I can't see it. It's all over the place.
It's oh, God, so disappointing. Like, and it still had some really good parts.
Hmm.
And then, but altogether it was like, what the fuck? And I did say like they shouldn't do like this should be the last season. And I was actually like relieved that they announced that this is the last season
Mm.
and whatnot. And I was like, oh great, like they can go out on a high. And then
It would have been a good last season if they actually did anything with the material that they had in front of them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, yeah. I'm not mad because I agree that it's Sweet Home. It's very disappointing.
It,
What's the
it,
other one? Yeah.
the other one I have on here, because I think it genuinely is probably the most disappointing other than Sweet Home, but for me
Yeah.
personally was probably The Bear season three. And this is not to
Oh,
say that The Bear season three was bad. It's not, but it's half a season. And I said this in the review that I did with Brian. It's like it's a lot of setup, and it's like I watched half a movie, and it was just deeply unsatisfying to watch because it was a lot of discord that got like mixed up and all this sort of stuff.
mm,
And none of it really got resolved at all by the end of the
mm,
season.
mm.
So it just feels like a lot of build up to like nothing. Um, and I still liked it a lot, but after the second season of The Bear, it just did not. It's not nearly as good.
Yeah.
And I what's the word I'm looking? I'm holding I'm holding space. Fuck's sake. I am I oh God, there's a ton of phrase that I'm looking for. Like I it's like right on the edge of my brain. Um Next year with season 4, I maintain I want to be able to, yeah, hold space. It's the only way
Yeah,
I can think to
yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah,
put it right now. To change my mind on this because I have a feeling that I'm hoping that season 4 kind of,
hmm.
well, again, I can't think of any fucking words this morning that they I think it will retroactively, that's the word I was looking for,
There you go.
retroactively make season 3 better than it was. But right now, well, as I wanted, like, when I consider it as a whole, it just is a bit like, oh, fuck's sake, it's just irritating. I want
Yeah,
more out of it. Um, yeah, I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't, it wasn't Peak the Bear, which,
yeah,
which really was season 2 at this point.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the first episode of it, and then that's
I
it.
actually quite liked the first episode. I know a lot of
It
people
was
weren't
good.
huge in it, but like, I think that it's a really sweet sort of vibe for that
Yeah,
first episode. And I
yeah.
think there's an episode called Ice Chips, with Natalie and her mother in the hospital as Natalie's giving birth,
Mm,
which is genuinely fantastic.
mm.
And Ayo Debris' directorial debut in Napkins, which is focused on, I can remember the actress's name, but I can't remember the character's name. Tina. There we go.
Mm,
Tina, and just like how she came to be at the Bear, which is also fantastic. There are a lot of
yeah.
individual great episodes in this season. Just overall, like as a season arc, irritating,
Yeah,
frustrating.
fair, fair.
Yeah.
Understandable.
What's
Yeah.
your other one?
My other one is The Rings of Power season 2.
Uh,
Yeah. Which is not surprising because I think the first season was also on my disappointing list.
you're just like not impressed.
No,
You
no,
know,
not at
I
all.
got this close to potentially watching it because Jack Loudon pops up as one of the Saurons in the second season. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, no. No. It's like yeah, it looks gorgeous and it's pretty and there's nothing wrong with the actors really because everyone is doing the best they can, but it's like
It's just not hitting for you.
no. And I love undeniably I love Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and Tolkien and whatnot. So I was looking forward to it. Like I understood like people were pissed off because it has nothing to do with what Tolkien wrote. Basically, like yes, there are like characters that are there like Galadriel or Aragorn or Gandalf or whatever.
Wait,
But
Gandalf?
like
I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about Gandalf being in it.
I mean, it's clearly the traveler or the stranger that shows up in season 1, and I think because here's the thing, I haven't even finished season 2, like the last 2 episodes, I didn't even watch, and I think it got confirmed what everyone already knew that that's Gandalf, the stranger is Gandalf. So yeah, but it's just uh,
Yeah. This is why
uh,
we do when we do these, I always, especially I think the first time we did it, you were like, we're doing a worst list, and I was like, I don't have a worst, I just have things that are just like disappointing. Which
mm,
is why I always like to clarify that when we talk about these, because it's like these aren't necessarily bad things. They're just
yeah, yeah, it's
eh.
I probably won't watch season 3. That's the thing with Rings of Power. That I'm like, yeah, no, no, it's not. Mm. Anyway, let's talk about the best things because
Let's
that's
let's
always
let's
more fun.
let's do all the fun stuff.
Yes.
Do all
Let's
the
let's
fun
start
stuff.
with movies again because why the hell not?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. What's your third best movie of the year?
Um, as I don't, were we recording when I said this? I'll say it again anyway.
Yes.
The top 3 movies that I put in here are all movies I've seen t at least twice this year. So
Mm,
they're all movies that I have actively sought out to see again.
yes.
Um, uh, I don't actually, the top 2 I do think are genuinely excellent films, but no, I think the third one is excellent as well, but I don't think it's like the best film, one of the best, like actively, objectively
Mm,
best films I've seen this year, but it is one of the ones I enjoyed the most. So
mm,
I've put A Quiet Place Day one as my number 3.
fair.
I saw
That's
it
my
twice.
honorable mention. So yeah,
Like I went and I saw it and then I went, I need to go see this again. And then I did, and I still had a great time. It's a great film.
it is. It is. It genuinely is.
And it's
It's
like
here.
it yeah. And I think we talked about it in our review. I don't think it's necessarily the best of the Quiet Place films, like on a sort of
Mm,
fundamental level, but
yeah.
I do think it's my favorite because
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I watched part two again this year as well.
I love
Um,
part two so
it is
much.
great.
Yeah.
It's really good. But the themes in Day One and the way that they really, it's such a quiet film, which feels ironic to say as I'm saying it, but like it's quiet in its like storytelling as
Mm,
well. It does everything it needs to without being particularly flashy about it. Lupita and Joe
Joseph.
Quinn
Yeah.
are fantastic in it and
Yeah.
so sweet with each other.
Yeah.
Um, and it's made me cry both times I've watched it.
Understandable. I cry on it every time I watch it. Like, it's just it's a great movie.
It's
And
fantastic.
it's only on the honorable mentions list for me because I realized that something else came out that I just love. So I'm like,
It's fair.
sorry.
I nearly put something else in here, and I can't even remember what it was now. But like, and then I was looking through my list again. I was like, but no, but I did. I saw a Quiet Place twice, so
Yeah.
that kind of puts it up there, really. Like
Mm,
made the effort to go see this a second time.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I stand by it.
Fair.
I also want to point out that everything that I put in here are things that released this year
Yes.
in the UK. So
Yes.
there may be whatever my next one may have come out the year before in America, but I don't care.
Fair. Fair.
So
Understandable.
there you go.
Understandable.
What's your number three?
It's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
Because I
was
was
debating whether or not I wanted to put that on my disappointing movies list.
what?
Because I mean I liked it, but I didn't think it was like I thought it was fine.
Really? Oh no, I really loved it. Like I'm surprisingly so because I miss Andy Serkis very dearly and Caesar and those movies are just like hands down the best trilogy out there, one of the best trilogies out
I
there.
didn't put it on here because I actually decided that I didn't think it was that disappointing, but
Yeah, 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 fair. But I was like, I was a bit worried because
Mm.
of Wes Ball being the director and whatnot, and I said this on our review as well. But I was genuinely surprised because they kept what Planet of the Apes, the new Planet of the Apes, were famous by, and it has a big heart, and
Hmm.
it's all the characters are well thought out and interesting and it's interesting to see what they're gonna do with it next because thankfully they're gonna do another one.
Sorry, I just remembered an actual third, like genuinely disappointing TV show that was so disappointing I erased it from my memory. We'll go
Oh,
back to that. You
okay,
continue on first.
okay, yeah, no, it's really just that I actually like I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it because I told that because Andy Serkis is the best ever that I will just hate it because he's not in it, and I genuinely liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so
It was
it's
fun
my
watch.
number three, and it was the one that knocked down Quiet Place a little bit, but I still love Quiet
Interesting.
Place very very dearly.
That's so interesting. I honestly wouldn't have thought that
Mm,
it would. Eh,
mm,
I appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
skirt us back to the most disappointing list because I did actually think of a third one because yeah, it was one of those things where it's like it was so disappointing I erased it from my brain.
okay.
Umbrella Academy season 4.
Oh yeah, which
It
I
was
never watched.
god awful. It was like I'm so pissed off about it. I wrote a whole thing about it. It was bad.
Yeah, it
And I'm so
unfortunately.
mad about what they did to my kids. They did not give them the goodbye they deserved. They character assassinated Five. Like fully
Mm.
took out a shotgun and just killed any of the great character work that they made for him. Um, like, and half of the stuff probably could have been fixed with like half of the deleted scenes they released after the scene came out and when show came out, and it was like, why didn't you put these in the show? They're so important for the character development that you kind of didn't do anything with.
I still haven't watched it. Like, I think it was enough for me that you were
Ugh.
like, it's so good, and I was like, okay, then
It's
I'm gonna.
not good. I mean, there's parts of it that are so fun because in that
Yeah,
Umbrella Academy way, when they're all really going and acting,
yeah.
um, and they're always so great together and all this sort of stuff. But just like when you have an entire sequence where everybody's throwing up,
Ugh.
um,
No, I
yeah,
don't
this is what I'm like. It was such a long sequence, and it added nothing to the story, and they decided to keep that in there and not the deleted scene where Klaus actually goes to an AA meeting and goes, "Hey, I'm an alcoholic, and I'd like to get better." That's what they got rid of, and they kept this other spy. I'm irate about it, and I genuinely blocked it out of my brain because I was so pissed off.
understandable. Understandable. I don't
Oh.
think I will ever watch it. I think
No,
it
honestly, don't
ended for
bother.
me. No, and I think it ended for me with season three. Done.
I think that's
That's
fair.
that's that's when
You
I
could
finished it.
probably imagine a better season four, frankly.
Possible. With my brain, it is possible. Okay, but
It's,
what
it's
what
not
is
hard.
yeah?
This is the thing.
What is your
Anyway,
number two movie?
back
Best
to the
movie?
best stuff. Back to
Yes,
the best stuff.
yes,
I
yes.
clarified before about the release dates because my th second best movie is All of Us Strangers. I have seen All of Us Strangers three times
Oh,
this
oh,
year.
oh, yes, yes. Okay, I know which
Um,
one that is. Yes,
Paul Mescal, Andrew Scott.
yes, yeah, 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 yeah.
It's just a beautiful film. It's not only is it gorgeous in terms of like plot and acting and
Mm-hmm.
all of these bits and pieces, it's also just gorgeous to look at. I watched it again a couple weeks ago, and it's so like in a time where uh color grading and lighting seems to have died a death in many ways. It's such a rich film. The colors in it are so deep and like beautiful to look at. It feels like a sunset in a lot of ways. Um,
Yeah,
uh, it's the best way I can describe it. But like Paul and Andrew are so good in it. It's like just quietly heartbreaking.
mm,
Um, Oh my God, it's so good. The end just is it kills me every time. And I wasn't sure about the end the first time I watched it, but with subsequent watchings, I think it hits so well, actually. Um, it's yeah, I loved it. I loved it so much. I will probably watch it again at some point in the new year, but like I cannot recommend it enough to people. It's so beautiful. I know it's probably not going to be everybody's favorite film,
mm,
but
mm.
it's very much up there for me. It's a very me film,
I think so too. Yeah,
but yeah, it's gorgeous. I loved it
fair,
desperately.
fair, fair. My number two is something that I don't think you've watched because you've already would have been messaged about it. But it's genuinely one of the most surprising and best movies that came out this year. It's Caddo Lake with Dylan
No, I haven't
O'Brien.
watched it yet. No, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's honestly, I was blown away by it. Like I had the same feeling like I had with Predestination, which is also a fantastic movie. But this one is just, I think it topped it up even that, and especially with like, as it started off, I was like, this is a bit boring. Then I was like a bit on edge with it. Like I wasn't even sure if I thought that it's gonna be like one of those Dylan movies where we both agreed that that was just no,
What was the
not
one that we talked about? Was it Flashback?
the
Was that what it was
flashback,
called? Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. And then the twist came,
Hmm.
and I was like, this is so fucking good. Like, and they kept it up so well, and the pacing is actually quite brilliant with it as well, because it makes you appreciate the entire movie more.
Mm.
And it's honestly, it was because I think they dropped the trailer a month before it arrived on Max, and I think it's one of those movies that should have had a bigger marketing because it's genuinely great. It's genuinely a great film, and Dylan is fucking amazing in it. Everyone is great in it, but like, yeah, it's easily one of my new favorite movies.
Sick. Yeah, I
Yeah.
will get. It is. I haven't watched any movies in a few weeks. So maybe I'll make an effort to get my hands on it so I can watch it. Um,
It's really good. But tell me about your number one.
my number one. I don't. I was going to say this, but it wouldn't be a surprise, but maybe it will be. I don't know entirely. My number one is Challenges.
Oh,
I It genuine like so because I watched Challenges in the cinema. It was probably my biggest surprise of the year. I went into it not really knowing anything other than like this is the Zendaya tennis movie. Um and it's just one of the best endings to a film that I've seen in fucking ages. Like it really that is the thing that makes the whole movie for me is that entire ending sequence is so fucking good. Um
mm.
it's the score is fantastic. Trent Reznor and Atticus is that his name? Hang on, my brain's not working. Trent Reznor is correct, but cut this out. Atticus Ross. My brain went Atticus Finch, and I was like, hang on, isn't that the guy from To Kill a Mockingbird? I knew it wasn't right. Atticus Ross. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross is
Mm.
soundtrack phenomenal. They are doing some of the best work in movie soundtracks at the moment. Um, this cast is brilliant. Josh O'Connor and Mike Feiston, obviously fucking Zendaya, who's a powerhouse in this movie. Um,
Sandra is great.
um, it just, it's like I watched it and I thought it was brilliant, and then I watched it again a couple of months later, and I went, this still fucking hits so well. Yeah, it was truly a surprise. I think it's one of the most original films that I saw this year.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that ending sequence is so fucking good. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, like the excitement that builds up in me whenever
Yeah.
I see it. I'm like, this this is filmmaking. This is
Mm.
filmmaking, and it
Mm.
led me to watch another one of the most interesting films I've seen this year, which is on my honorable mentions list.
Mm.
Uh, um, I loved Challenges so much, and people move past it so quickly, and I've not left. I think honestly, if it were up to me, I would give it Best Picture at the Oscars next year.
Mm.
That's straight up.
Mm. Okay.
I feel very strongly about this.
Okay. Fair. I told
I know
you
you
that
didn't
I
like it very much, but like I loved it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I know, I know. Okay, fine, fair, fair. Mine is what a surprise. It's me, the Wild Robot.
say that again.
The the
Sorry.
Wild Robot.
Wild Robot. Gotcha.
Yes. Yes.
That's fair. Very, very fair. It's a fantastic film.
It's honestly like I watched it at this point. I think I've seen it like 5 times, and it's not gonna get old ever. I think it's genuinely one of the best animated movies to come out. So
It's
yeah, I
it
just
it was beautiful.
it's wonderful, beautiful, so just everything about it is just so good. I genuinely love it, and you know, and I can't wait for them to make another one because
Hmm. They are.
thankfully they're gonna make another one. So you
Have
know,
you
it will be very interesting to see.
have you got the books?
Of course,
Okay.
of course, I had to get them. I was like, I watched it and I was like, I need them. And I ordered them. I don't
Okay.
have the last one, so I have to get that one, which should be arriving next week, I
Okay.
believe. I don't know, something like that, because it was never released in Hungary,
Mm.
and now they released it that the movie is out. So that's how I got. It's not like I couldn't read it in English, but I was like, yeah, might
Eh,
as well. It's
eh.
fine. Mm.
Yeah, no, The Wild Robot was fantastic. It was the first film I saw at London Film
Mhm.
Festival, and yeah, it surprised me, I think, with just how simple it was, but
Yeah,
like how effective it is at the simplicity that it does. Um, yeah,
and I
fantastic
remember
cast.
you
I
you were
cried.
oh so many, yeah, it's easy, easy. Yeah, And I remember you told me like after you watched it that
I was like, you're gonna like this.
yeah. And you were correct. Didn't just like it. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, easily my favorite this year. But I do have not many, but a few honorable mentions. Which one of them was A Quiet Place Day One, which I dearly love still. Like just because it didn't make it to the top three, I still loved it a lot. And then I have the new Netflix movie that I just told you about. It's gonna
Hmm.
carry on with Jason Bateman and Taron Egerton. It's been a long time since I sat down and watched the movie and didn't even look at my phone.
Mm.
And this does that. It's genuinely such a good movie. It brings back the vibe of those 90s and early 2000 action movies that I really enjoy and I really miss, to be fair. I realized that while watching it that I miss this kind of movies a lot and I don't think they make enough. And honestly, I always liked Jason Bateman, but damn, like I
Jason Bateman is like kind of an assassin in like how good he is at certain things. Because you're like, oh, this is the funny guy, and then you watch him, it's like, fuck, this guy's really good at what he
yeah,
does.
he's genuinely like so good. So I really like this movie. So I think I will definitely watch it again because it's very entertaining and good. So well done to everyone who worked on it because it's genuinely one of the biggest surprises this year. And then I don't think this is a 2024 release movie, but I
Well,
only
I was
just
gonna suggest that we do because I have a little bit of like didn't release this year, but I also loved sort of section that we could probably do at the end of like
okay,
stuff that
okay,
like didn't come out this year, but we watched this year that was like, love that.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Saved it.
Yes. And there's which I watched very accidentally because I didn't even know it's gonna come out, but it was genuinely such a lovely movie again, also animated. It's on Netflix. It's called Dead Christmas, and it was
That's the new Richard Curtis movie.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not entirely surprised that it's actually quite fun because it's Richard
it
Curtis.
it was honestly such a lovely movie, and I was genuinely surprised by how just just warm it was, and I really enjoyed it. It
Hmm,
was very nice.
Five.
So that's it.
Okay, my honorable mentions because I got a few. We've got the ones that came out probably last year in the U most of the ones that came out last year in the US, sort of Oscar season from earlier this year. So the holdovers, Poor Things, American Fiction, all fucking fantastic.
Mm,
Got the holdovers behind me because it's Christmas. And it looks like Paul Giamatti is going, "Hey, look, it's me," but he's
yeah,
actually pointing at the Christmas tree.
but he's pointing at you. Now
He's
he's
pointing at
looking at
me.
yeah.
This is a great Christmas film, which I plan on
Mm,
watching again very soon.
mm,
Um, uh, but those were my sort of like those were the like ones that came out in the new year this year in the UK, but like were a lot of the sort of big releases from last year over in the US. But they were I did love them. They were
mm,
very good. I got the Iron Claw, which was a surprise to how much I enjoyed it.
mm,
I'm not a big wrestling person at all. Like I have looked at some wrestling stuff. It just doesn't click for me in the way that it does for a lot of people. But Zac Efron's fucking brilliant in this film. I wept at the end of it um,
mm.
because of his performance. And I have to give a shout out to the guy who sat next to me who kept like audibly gasping at everything that happened because honestly, it made my entire experience. Think it was there's a moment where somebody comes on screen after an accident and you see like the results of that accident and he went like, oh no, it was so it was everything to me. I loved it. We've got like my little selection of like ones from the film festival that I did see and enjoyed. We Live in Time up there because it surprised because I was really not rating it that much from the trailer, but it ended up being so beautiful.
Mm,
And again, proper weepy bastard. And then Queer, which is another Luca Guid. I still don't know how to say his last name. I really need to like sit down and like learn it properly. Um, which is a weird movie, but I'm really glad that people are seeing it and really enjoying it.
mm,
Because yeah, it's just a strange sort of fever dream that I actually really enjoyed more when
mm.
I think about it more in like post seeing it. I'm like, that was some of Daniel Craig's best work, I think. The Outrun, which I went and saw on a whim, it was an independent production, Saoirse Ronan, um, playing a woman who I believe it's based on as a woman's sort of autobiography, about her like basically pulling herself up from this massive like rock bottom hit. It's all about like alcoholism and like trying to find yourself again after like all these places. She's unbelievable in this movie. And
Mm.
it's frankly a crime that she's not getting nominated specifically for her performance in this film. Because I watched it and I was like, I don't think I've truly appreciated how much Saoirse Ronan is genuinely one of the best to ever do it. At this point in time, she's phenomenal in this film.
Mm.
Um, and it's just a really beautiful film, and it made me want to go stay in a cottage in the middle of nowhere in the Orkney Islands and just like look at the sea for several hours. Um, it just it's one worth searching out because it's such a small, proper independent
Mm.
film. Um, and it showcases, I think, one of those places in Scotland that isn't really very known about, which is the Orkney Islands. Um, it's just kinetic and beautiful, and I loved it.
Mm.
And then the last one, just for fun, I loved Twisters. I loved it.
It was really
It
good.
was so good, and I
Yeah,
really, I'm like,
I
I
enjoyed
want to
it.
see it again.
Yes,
I think that one
it was
might have.
fun.
There was a real possibility of that sneaking onto the top three,
Yeah,
but I think Quiet Place is good for where
yeah.
it is. But I loved the spectacle of it. It like it
It's a
just
good movie.
it really it hit in exactly the right way. I did then watch the original Twister, which was also very good, but I think Twisters just hits in exactly the right spot
Mm.
for me. There's something about spectacle that sometimes will make me burst into tears.
Fair.
Like
I
I kept
understand.
like there was just something about the awe of it that I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep weeping.
I understand. It's understandable. I will quickly put in, because I just remembered that I
Mm.
also watched that. A Smile too was
Yeah,
actually surprisingly very, very good. Biggest part that proves that is Naomi Scott is just fantastic in her role, and especially with horror movies, it's rare to get like a proper second movie, third movie, whatever. So
mm.
I'm very happy that they managed to pull this one off.
We all know that I'm not the most versed in horror films, but
Mm,
as far as I can tell, from an outsider's perspective, this
yes,
year was pretty decent for horror films, as far
it
as I
was.
could see. There was a
Yeah,
lot of pretty good stuff
yeah,
that came out.
yeah.
Um, so that's fun.
It is. It is. I'm like, I don't think, because otherwise it would have been on the list
Mm,
of the worst or disappointing. I don't think I watched any bad horror movies. I
mm,
watched horror movies that were like, meh.
fine.
Yeah, just fine. But I watched some genuinely really good ones, so
Did,
I'm happy
did
with
you
this year.
did you end up watching Longlegs?
Yes, yes.
Because I've seen such polarizing opinions on it. Because I've seen some people who absolutely fucking hated it, and other people who are like, no, it's brilliant. And I can't get a beat on whether or not it's actually good.
I mean, Nicolas Cage is really good in it.
Hmm.
I really like him in it. Very scary. Like
Mm.
that's the genuinely unsettling guy. He's just great. I love Nicolas Cage.
Mm.
Uh, but it's kind of a
Eh,
movie. Like I read all the praises about it and how great it is, but for me it was like, okay,
fair
not
enough.
bad, not good, no, it's like right in the middle.
It's
I think
it.
if it wouldn't have Nicolas Cage in it, I
Mm.
don't think it would work.
The impression I got from it is that it's very much a vibe
It is,
movie.
yeah,
It's like a vibe
yeah,
thing. So if you don't really hit with the vibe, it's probably
yeah,
not going to hit properly
yeah.
for
That's true.
one watching it. Yeah, fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I agree. I agree with that. All right, top three TV shows. What's your
Right.
number three?
My number three actually hasn't finished airing yet, but
Oh,
with every episode that comes out, I do think it's so good, and I
okay.
really have to push people towards watching it because my first two films are both on Films. My first two choices are on Apple TV,
Mm,
and as like Apple TV is making some of the best television right now, and nobody really is paying attention to it because it's on Apple
yeah,
TV.
yeah.
Shrinking season two.
Ah,
Um,
with Harrison Ford.
with Harrison Ford, who, and I tweeted this today, is doing some of the best work of his career in this season of Shrinking.
Mm.
He's so fucking funny. And then the moments where he gets to play this like genuine like gravitas and like heartbreak and like there was just a moment in the last episode that I watched that came out this week where he broke down into tears and it was like this sweet little moment and I'm like, my God, he's so good in this. But it's also, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of the confluence in a lot of my interests. It's a sitcom about therapists. So it kind of leans into all that stuff about like kind of the philosophy of life and like the importance of like therapy in life and all
Mhm.
those sorts of things. And I remember Variety, like they came out with a review like when the season was coming out that was like this show about therapy is not very interested in seeing anybody go to therapy. And I'm like, you are watching a fundamentally different TV show to me. Because yeah, you don't get to see very many of like the clients that Jimmy has in this new season, but like you're seeing more of the therapeutic responses on like the importance of like looking at how you live your life through the
Mm.
characters that we love. Um, it's really funny. It's like a genuinely funny show, and it's really sweet. And I just wish more people were watching it because I want to talk about it with more people. Um, I think especially if you loved Scrubs or
I
Cougar
love
Town.
Scrubs.
Honestly, Cougar Town is a huge one as well because there's a lot of people from Cougar Town in this, and I'm like,
Oh.
oh my God. I loved Cougar Town back in the day when it was
Mm.
coming out. It's so warm, and I love
Yeah.
watching it every week. And I really hope we don't have to wait nearly as long for the third season, which has already been confirmed. Thank God.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's fantastic. I loved it. I love it so much. And we've still got two episodes left, which is the really fun bit.
Fa-
Yay.
Yay! Happy
It's great.
days.
What's your number three?
My number three is from season three.
Mm,
Because From is genuinely one of the best TV shows out there. It's like I'm so glad that I see more and more people pick up on it.
mm,
Because if you loved Lost or if you loved any kind of mystery show, this is genuinely the show for you. It's very intriguing. The characters are great. I love the mysteries, and we did get a lot of answers with the season three finale. And it will be very, very interesting to see where they go from here because season four is coming. Fuck
I
yeah.
was so happy to be able to be the one to give that news to you.
I was like, yay! Because honestly, if they wouldn't continue after the season three finale, I would be very upset with everyone who does TV. Like, how dare you take this away from me? It's genuinely amazing. The mysteries are fun. It makes you, to think and create theories of your own. And I love how a lot of people said a lot of things and none of them came true. So they were able to surprise, I think, everyone with some of the revelations at the end. I think there was only one theory that was like sort of true by
Mm,
the end, but not in a way where people thought about it. Like so, it's genuinely such a good show. And Harold Perrineau, who's the
mm.
main character Boyd in it, is just he's just the best. I love that man so
I
much.
mean, he's one of the like proper goats, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Obviously, 100% agree. And then my beloved Kenny, who can, Kenny must survive. I feel like I have a thing with Kennys
You have a
because
thing in Kenny's, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's always if you have a character named Kenny in your show or movie, I will probably love him no
Mhm.
matter what. So yeah, but this Kenny here is also just a sweetheart and the best, and he deserves the word. And his episode, which I believe was episode three or maybe two. It was very early on. Maybe it was two. I think I haven't ugly cried that much in a very long time. It was just so heartbreaking and beautifully done that honestly, hats off just for that one episode. Hats off in front of everyone because it was everything and more. So yeah, I'm looking forward to season four, and it became one of my favorite shows. I think almost ever, very quickly. So if you haven't seen From, please watch it. I beg you. It's excellent and good, and it's one of those TV shows that we used to love back in the day, and we need more like this because it's genuinely great.
Right.
What's your two?
My number two, it should be of absolutely no surprise. It's Slow Horses.
Oh, what? Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed?
Who would have
Um,
guessed? Not
I mean,
me.
it's so. I mean, I watched it and then I watched the entire thing again pretty much immediately. But
That's
like
commitment.
specifically, we're looking at season four because season four did come out this year and was brilliant. And I truly, I just, it again, it's one of those shows that is so insanely made to cater towards my interests. Like, I think we've established this at this point. I quite like a spy
Yeah,
thriller,
yeah.
but it's a spy thriller in which everybody's a little bit incompetent, so it's even better. Like, they're not even like incompetent. They just like make it. It's like nobody gets to be cool all the time. Like even when you have a character doing something genuinely quite badass, they'll probably follow it up with by doing something fucking stupid.
Mm, mm.
Or like it just won't they won't let them have their moment of glory.
Yeah.
River, my beloved River Cartwright is just like a character created for me to enjoy. um
Fair.
it's just fantastic.
Mm,
And I'm just so glad that I finally listened to people because my parents have been telling me to watch this for 2 years at this point, and they're
mm,
like, "You would really enjoy Slow Horses." I'm like, and you know, Ali Plum, BBC Radio One's Ali Plum has been like, it's genuinely excellent, and I trust Ali Plum's opinion on quite a lot of things. It's one of those ones where people were like, "If you're not, you should be watching Slow Horses," and I went, "Fine, I'll watch Slow Horses." And now I'm going around to everybody going, "You should be watching Slow Horses."
mm. You became the people
I
that were
became the
saying you.
people. And I'm glad to continue on with this whole thing. Yeah, I mean it's fantastic.
Mm,
I cannot wait for season five. And
mm.
the knowledge that we also have a season six in the pipeline is thrilling and it makes me so happy. Um it's nice to have a show that you can rely on to come
Yeah,
back. I will not lie to you.
yeah.
Um, and it is some, oh yeah, I love it. 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 I love it.
Good, 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 good.
Um, some genuinely excellent writing, and it's funny. But but these two, both of these are big part of the reason that they're on here is because they're really, really funny.
Mm.
Um, which is nice because I'm not usually the one to go
That's
straight
nice. Yeah.
for comedy, as is
Mm.
probably noted by the my top three movies at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Like intense drama and all this sort of stuff. That being said, Shrinking does have a heavy theme of dealing with grief, so shouldn't surprise anybody. That's
No.
why I enjoy it so much. But it's also funny, which is the important part. So Horses is fantastic, and I really
Mm.
just like if you like even if you only have it for a month, get an Apple TV subscription because there's so much good stuff on there. And I promise you, you'll find a whole bunch of things that you'll enjoy.
Mm.
Is my big thing.
Fair.
Yeah, that's my number two. What's your number two?
My number two is Fallout.
Oh, well, that just won Best Adaptation at the
I
Game
know,
Awards.
I know. It's genuinely one of the biggest surprises of the year for me because I only watched it for Ella Purnell, who I
Mhm,
love. And then I love everyone in it now. Well, I
mhm,
mean, I always enjoyed Walton Goggins, but I'm so glad he's getting the recognition he deserves now.
mhm,
I mean, he's just fucking great, and he once again proves it in this. And the entire show, genuinely, I've never played the games. I think I said this when we talked about it briefly. I never played the games, and still, I found a lot of things to enjoy about it.
mhm,
And it's genuinely one of those shows that I think everything was just right, like the vibe, the actors, the story, everything was just like, oh, I like this.
mhm.
This is fun. I like how this goes. So, you know, I'm very, 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 very interested to see how season 2 is going to look like. And I'm so glad that they started filming already
I was about to
because
say they've just started production, right?
yeah, they just started production, and you know, I'm just very intrigued by the whole thing, and I want to see what comes next because it's genuinely a really, really good show. So yeah, it's Fallout number 2.
I was going to say that I did kind of call that Fallout might win the because we were watching. I was watching the Game Awards live the other night
Mm,
with my friends over Discord,
yeah.
and they were releasing they were doing other things. And obviously, Arcane was mentioned, and then Fallout, and I went. I mean, it feels like it probably will be an Arcane vehicle, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fallout took it. And then when they announced it, I was like, I'm very smart.
Yeah, you are, but we already knew that. So what's your number one? That's the big
My
question.
number one is season 2 of Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
And I'm kind of mad at myself that it wasn't the first thing that occurred to me, but I'm so glad that I again went through and looked at some lists because I was like, oh no, this is yes, absolutely the best, some of the best TV that came out this year, and definitely my favorite. And I say this as somebody who had so much trouble watching the first season. Like it took me 3 attempts to get into the first season, and it was never about like it's such a well-made show anyway. Like, and I watched the first episode and I thought this is really good, but I'm not in the mood for this. And then I came back to it, and it just wasn't hitting right. And I was like, no, I'm gonna push through because I have some great friends who are like, this is fucking fantastic, and you will
Mm,
enjoy it.
mm.
Um, and I got through season 1, and just season 2 is so good, and I just like um Jacob Anderson doing some of the best acting I've seen on television, full stop. It's a crime that he's getting left out of all of the like nominations for the awards season in the new year. I'm so mad that he didn't get nominated for a Critics' Choice Award. He fucking deserves it. He's so good in this show.
Hmm.
And yeah, just season 2 became so much more of the sort of thing that I enjoy, and it's like really started hitting those notes in the best way because it was like
Mm.
a lot of stuff about memory and it like unreliable narrators and like things not like playing out the way that people think that they do, really culminating, particularly for me, in episode 5, which is Don't Be Afraid, Start the Tape. Which there's a fight between Jacob Anderson's Louis and Azad Zaman's oh God, my brain and names. Why does it do this to me? I know Armand. Thank
Armand?
you. Thank you. Yeah, it's Armand. Their fight scene, I watched it like 10 times the day it came out. It's such good dialogue, and they're like throwing these insults at each other. It's like watching a really, really good play. Mwah. Brilliant stuff.
Good.
And obviously, because he is getting some attention, and I do want to give him some respect, Sam Reed is Lestat. Like he
Yeah,
just is. Like
yeah.
he's been possessed by the spirit of Lestat. We need to help him and save him from this place. Unfortunately, not anytime soon because we will be getting season 3 with Lestat in his Rockstar era. I'm so fucking excited for all the music that's going to come out of season 3. But see, yeah, season 2 of Into the Vampires,
Mm.
unbelievable. And I have to give a shout out to I think her name is Bailey. I need to hang on. I'm going to double check what her last name is. Again, me and names. Bailey Bass. No, that was the original one. Delaney
That's
Hayes.
the yeah. Because
Delaney Hayes had such a hard task in taking over from Bailey Bass because Bailey Bass does such a good job with Claudia in the first season.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then it's like I've got 2 Claudias, and they're both brilliant in their own ways. And it's like I don't think Delaney could have done what Bailey Bass did in season 1, and I don't think that Bailey Bass could have done what Delaney did in season 2.
Mm.
It's both of them hit such important little bits. Phenomenal television, phenomenal television. More people should be watching Interview with the Vampire because it is some of the best TV out there.
Fair, fair.
Done. What's your number one?
don't think anyone will be surprised. I talked about it for 3 weeks straight. Arcane season 2.
I was gonna say, we
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to talk about it, which is such a shame.
Yes.
Let's talk about it right now.
Okay.
Let's do a mini little review because we couldn't do an entire episode on it. It's phenomenal.
It is. It genuinely is. It's like honestly easily the best TV that you can find, especially in animation. And there are a lot of contenders for that title, if I'm fully honest. But I think Arcane just beats out everyone so easily. Like
I could not get over how impressive it is that there was such different styles of animation that was constantly
it's
used
just
throughout it, and like the breadth of like different design choices used for like different types of magic, and the imagination that went into each and every one of those. I can't quite get over it.
it's honestly, yeah, it's just mind-boggling how well it is put together. And I would like to say, because I don't think enough people talk about it, that Arcane was written by two people who were beforehand completely unknown to, you know, Hollywood, to anyone, and they trusted them. And I think that was their best choice ever, because they got the freedom, they were trusted, and they created one of the greatest animated TV shows ever. And I can't get over how well it's put together. The music is fucking fantastic throughout.
Please, can we talk about how good the performance 21 Pilots did at the Game Awards? Because I
It's
have not stopped thinking about it.
it's stuck in my head. Like
It's so good.
it's
I'm so happy people are finally like my timeline is full of people who are like, damn, I did not realize I didn't realize your game. I'm like, yeah, you put some respect in my man Tyler Joseph's name.
he's
He
great.
killed that performance.
Is It's so clear. Like I don't even know how human can sing so clearly. It's
He's like just
everything
one of the
about it.
best bands to ever hear live, and I stand by that.
Yeah, they're really good, honestly. And obviously, my joy with the music was that one of the songs is from Stray Kids, and it's the song with the greatest entrance of all time from Jinx at the end in the final episode. And I was when it started and they arrived, I was like, that's my guys. It's beautiful, beautiful.
You and
Hold on,
me.
wait.
Sorry.
Wait, I have to call this out. See, Ryan Reynolds, this is how you use Stray Kids. You don't just ask them to make music and then never use it in your movie. You use them because it's fucking awesome. I will never not be salty about that. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's it.
Just you
Go
and
on.
me getting to watch and be like, that's my guys. You
Yeah.
know, that's my guys.
So it's just so rewarding. But the entire thing is, yes, I agree with the criticism that it felt a bit rushed, but
Yeah.
even
I
with
think
that
that's
feeling,
my only.
yeah, but even with that feeling, it's still fucking great. And not many things can say that. Like
Yeah.
there are things that are rushed and just awful, and there are things that are rushed and just and there's this that still manages to be like
It's just that
fucking
thing of
awesome.
like it's so good, and I think it only crests over that line of like having a little bit too much to do and not quite enough
Yeah,
time to do it. I think if
just
it
a
had gone any
tiny.
further than that, it would have felt like way too
Mm.
packed. But it's right on.
It's yeah,
It's ever so slightly over that line where you're like, oh, I really kind of wish we had a little bit more time to like let a
fair.
couple of things breathe. But like,
It's still the
uh,
greatest, honestly. Like
I could not stop watching. You saw that little TikTok that they did with the Arcane cast where they were just like saying little meme lines. Like I
oh
could
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
stop
yeah.
watching Harry like going, Victor Nation, how are
Like
we
the
feeling?
nation. I'm so sad.
Bad. The answer is bad.
I'm so sad. I love Victor, and but I'm glad that in the end he was
It was like,
saved. He was saved. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. I love them so much. So Arcane is my clear winner of 2024.
Any honorable mentions that you want to mention for
I mean,
TV?
I watched a lot of very good Korean TV that yeah didn't make the top three, but they were still good. I very much enjoyed the good no. That came out last year, but I still very loved it. The Good Bad Mother, which was fantastic. Dad's Game also came out last year, but I only got the chance to watch it now. And I genuinely suggest that to so many people to watch it because it's such a deep dive on the worst negative thoughts that you can have, meaning,
Mm.
and mm, it's just beautifully put together. And from this year, Miss Day and Night was just a joy. It was one of those TV shows where
Mm.
it's just so good. So yeah, I don't like I'm very happy with my top three.
Hmm.
I will say Agatha All Along was a surprise. I really enjoyed Agatha. I really like Skeleton Crew.
I haven't gotten into it, I haven't started it yet, but my parents have
It's
been
such
singing its praising.
joyful, yeah, it's such a joyful little Star Wars show. I just really like it. Fuck you, Disney, for canceling The Acolyte because I
Hmm.
genuinely think
It had
it's
so much great potential, and that is disappointing.
it is highly disappointing because it's finally it was what everyone was crying about, that they want something new in Star Wars and they got it and they are now little bitches about it. Um, I don't even care. And the Penguin is genuinely good TV, despite us watching it at a time where we, it was
We're
hard to get into.
quite,
Yes,
yeah,
but
there for it.
it's I can't deny that it is good. It is good. So yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Dead Boy Detectives because I'm sad. It was
Yeah.
almost on my list, and then I remembered
Yes.
Interview with the Vampire and I had to take it off, unfortunately. So yeah, shout out to Dead Boy Detectives. I really wish we could have got more time with you. I loved you so much, so much. I just watched Black Doves, which I want to give a shout out to because just it was fun. I really liked it. I had a good
Fair.
time with it.
Fair.
Legend of Vox Machina season three, obviously. Very excited for the Mighty Nine series. Hopefully, we're getting in next year,
Mm,
celebrating 10 years of Critical Role. This fucking show
nice.
has been in my life for 10 years.
Yeah.
Insane. Um, and I think I I think that's it for like
Oh,
TV off the top of my head.
I have two more.
Oh, she's got two more.
Yes, because this year just I had to check my list and I still was like, that came out this year.
Mm,
Uh, Obviously, The Boys.
mm.
I was very loud about how much I love this season. So The Boys, I love them. I can't wait for the final season. And finally, if they're not like, I'm very happy that they at least we got to the point where they nominated Anthony Starr for the best actor role, but like just finally give it to him. He's so fucking good as Homelander that it's genuinely insane how great that man is. And I really really love the adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I it will very it's very dear to my heart. So yeah, that's it.
Well, I won't lie, I nearly put Avatar on my most disappointing list, but then I realized I didn't care enough about it to even.
I will pretend I didn't hear that. Let's just erase and like Man in Black come in.
I'm trying to think if there was any other like TV that came out this year that I watched this year that I enjoyed, but I don't think there was. Somebody's going to come along and be like, "What about this?" Um,
That always happens, yeah.
which always, and I watched a lot of like, I kind of went back to a lot of TV this year as opposed to like new stuff,
Mm,
comparatively speaking. But yeah, let's do my didn't release this year, but I also loved sort of like
yes.
some stuff that you watched this year that you that didn't not my brain um that didn't come out this year, but you watched this year and you went, that was some good shit.
I only have two.
Go.
Both of them are Korean movies. One of them is Midnight, which is genuinely one of the best Korean movies after 20%.
I have it.
I will have
It's
to
sitting in a
put that in.
drawer. I will get to it.
Please do. It's genuinely like thank you again, thank you, Mike Flanagan, because without you, I wouldn't even know about this movie, and it's just fucking awesome. And the other one is Sleep, which you
I'm so
sent the
glad I told
trailer.
you about
Yeah,
that one.
yeah, you sent the trailer. I finally got it on Blu-ray because I couldn't find it in any other way, and I watched it, and it's genuinely great. Like I really, really enjoyed it, and it's also I don't want to mix up names, so hold on, hold on. Sleep. Yes. It's one of the last movies of poor Lee Sung-kyun, who was also in Parasite, and he's excellent here as well. So yeah, it's a very both of them are fucking fantastic movies, and I'm glad that they are here as Blu-rays in my collection because they are great.
Hmm. Cool. I'm just gonna go through my little list here. A little shout out to Benediction, which I watched this year and just genuinely took me so by surprise. With how much had I loved watching it. It really is not going to be a film for everyone. I do think it's too long and it's a little meandering in places, but it's just surprisingly funny. Like in a way I really was not expecting when I watched it. And is quite the testament to I am all for people just like if you can find an in into movies that you wouldn't normally watch, to always do that because like Benediction is not a film I would have gone out of my way to watch if it wasn't for the fact that it was
Mm,
Jack Bowden in the lead role.
mm.
And I'm just so glad I did because it was fantastic. Um, what else did I watch this year that I really liked that was new? I rewatched a lot of movies which I enjoyed. Again, I loved Twister, like the original Twister,
Yes,
um, which I was glad to do to see and all that sort of stuff. But my big one, because like I tried to watch Lost this year again,
yes,
and I got to season 4, and I finished season 4 this time.
yes.
10 years after I tried it the first time, and I still didn't finish it. But you know what I did watch all of? 911.
Oh yes.
And like it's just so funny because I don't even know if I think 911 is a good show, but I had so much fun watching it. Every episode, like well, most episodes anyway, it's just like great cast, so silly, like
Yeah.
just like bombastic in the best way. And I want to give a little shout out to the First Respond cast because they've just started a little rewatch podcast. A couple of YouTubers, uh, Jane Mulcahy and Ryan, I think it's Kearns.
Mm.
I'm so sorry. Hang on. I actually want to get this right because honestly, I want them to let me I want them to let me on their show so I can talk about it. Yeah, it's Kearns. I was right. Um, Jane Mulcahy and Ryan Kearns because I'm really enjoying listening to that podcast every week. It's going to be the only thing keeping me going until 911 comes back in March next year. In March, I have to wait until March to find out. And it just like I mean, when I was watching it, I just was crying at every other episode, because it was like constantly things like just like the most sentimental stuff, you know.
Mm.
There's a moment at the end of season 2 where a fire truck falls on Buck's leg, and then the entire like this like crowd of people who are being kept back from this fallen fire truck come in to help lift it up, and I burst into tears, like weeping. If I think about it too hard, I might start crying now. So I'm gonna stop. I just loved it.
Yeah. Fair.
It's been a while since I've gotten into a proper
Mm.
procedural, and it was nice to get through it's 7.5 seasons of something that it is just fun.
That's
You
fair.
know?
I only saw like glimpses of 911, but it looks like something that I would enjoy as well. So I might as well.
It was very much a show that I was watching because I watched a lot of the first season and then I fell off because I think it was around the time I was doing my finishing my degree. You know, as one does.
Yes.
But I'd been keeping up with it for years on Tumblr because it's
Yeah.
a huge on Tumblr.
Yeah.
And there's something about it recently. I was just like, you know what? This feels easy.
Yeah.
And
You
I just
might as
started
well.
watching it,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that I did. It's kind of become just such a great little point of joy in my
Mm.
life. But yeah, Jane, Ryan, please let me. I want to, please, I want to come talk to you about 911. I have good thoughts, and I will be a great guest.
I can confirm. I can confirm. Alrighty. So this was our wrap up on 2024. We're gonna be back next year. It might change a little bit, but we're gonna tell you everything on Twitter and on our YouTube
Mhm.
community space as well. Because
There
I now
will.
have a new job, and
Lily's got
Katie
a full.
might not get
I'm.
a new job.
I might. We hope.
We hope. We very
Fingers
much hope so.
crossed.
Fingers, all the fingers are crossed. So
But
cross your
we
fingers
might
for Katie.
end up in more of a sort of monthly release
Yes,
schedule
yes,
thing, which
with
just
longer episode and whatnot.
slightly longer episodes and all that
Yeah,
sort of stuff. But we're also aware that it's not actually the end of the year yet.
yeah,
So there's like stuff still to come,
yes,
namely
yes.
Squid Game. But
We will definitely talk about that. I can promise
that
you
will
that.
almost for sure be the first thing we talk about
Yes,
in the new year.
yes, yes. I can very gladly promise that because I love Squid Game. I can't wait. So we have to talk about it. But yes, until then, have a very happy holiday season. Enjoy your time with your family during Christmas. Have a very happy New Year, everyone. And we're gonna let you know about like how the podcast will continue on because it will continue on. It might just change a little bit, but it's gonna come back. We're gonna come back because we love talk about movies and TV shows and sometimes games as well. Because why the hell not? So yeah, we're looking forward to that. And until then, watch movies.
Watch movies. Do it.
Easy as that. Just do it. And subscribe to us
Just
because
do it.
we're fun.
That too.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Cut the check. Cut the check. Cut the check.
Cut the check.
Cut the check. Cut the check. That's it. Cut the check. We're done. Cut the check. Oh, that was good. Cut the check. Oh, yeah.